Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. I did want to just come on and say a few things because today there was a great Parsha that I was reading for Shabbat. And this is, I'm going to show you here, this is going to be a quick little snippet, but my website is a great place to go. I have been really building it out with a lot of great resources, curriculum, a way to follow through and to come into. It's what I think I have majored in this now. I am confident in my understanding to teach Christianity, Ephraim people, the roots of our charismatic spirituality in one sense, and just our general overall spirituality. It has a root system. It comes from a tree that we've been grafted back into, okay? And it's called the tree of life. Now, there's a work within Judaism called the Tanya. Okay, the Tanya is a series of writings that's about 300 years ago, I believe, was about compiled, and it deals with Jewish spirituality. So it's a compendium type of writings of the complete body of understanding, like we have them today in Christianity. Evangelicalism has many compendiums of a certain theological position. So this is theirs, the Tanya, but it's on the Jewish spirituality and psychology and theology from the point of view of Hasidic philosophy. And Hasidic, that would sort of be Christian, the charismatic, being a charismatic. Gifts of the spirit, believing in a spiritual realm and a spiritual dimension. And some people really go, woo. There's always been a tradition within the Jewish world and within Christianity and within the world of people who just really try to push that envelope as far as they can, either way. And then others who just totally want to deny it, period. So we have to always have balance. We have to have true discernment in all things. And I believe in the Tanya, true balance and true using, the keys to the kingdom. Because so this Hasidic philosophy, which is the inner explanation of Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, people, you've got to grow up. You've got to understand if you have some kind of fear, we'll call it, of Kabbalah, that has come into you by teachers who are, well, at best clueless, at worst, whatever, the Father will decide that, but who have tainted your mind on this. This is the deepest level of understanding. This is the meat of the word. This is where it all gets beautiful and levels up. These are the key, but to get here, to understand this, you need the keys to the kingdom. You need to understand how to unlock the mystical, allegorical understanding. It's already been established. There's some Christianity we forgot. We didn't understand after a while when we left off using the Hebrew as our foundation, which is the Hebrew is the foundation, the Hebrew language, a certain type of Hebrew script, Asher Ketivi, that is it. But it offers, this is that level that it deals with in the Tanya, that level. Now, I want to say that it offers advice for each individual on how to serve God in their daily life. It's very practical. How to have joy. You don't think believers in Old Testament needed to have as much joy as we try to struggle, have in our life today, considering all the tribulation and the trials, the darkness and the chaos. These are true spiritual cravings of the believer's heart. And believe me, there is a very solid track record. Okay. So that being said, I was reading. So by the way, I just want to say, come to my website, become a member, $25 a month. I put out very high level meat teachings. I am an expert on what it is to have to decipher the word on the true foundation that Paul said called pards, which is the tree of life. It's a biblical exegesis that the Jews have been using for thousands of years. It was given to them by Moshe. It was this way Enoch wrote. I mean, I have playlists and playlists. Get up to speed on how and to believe in the accuracy of the Torah text. Don't let the world lie to you. Oh my God, there's liars and tell you that there's something wrong with the text and it's full of contradictions. That is total bullshit. I mean, let's just call it out at this point, okay? The true believer understands how truly mystical and our Elohim is. So anyways, I have a lot on there. Now, let's just go to the whole point here. Okay, so there is this, I came across this deeper understanding. So the deeper, listen, the Torah is full of this, people. It's called the sealed knowledge. You need the keys to the kingdom. Yeshua said, you be shut out from the knowledge of the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven, that's a code word for our deeper psychology. It's a spirituality, how the Father relates to us, kind of like on the inside. Okay. So now you got to just, if this is a trigger for you, you just got to be mature. We're going for the meat. Okay. You got to spit out some bones. Okay. But every Jew, this is written from the point of view from the Tanya. This is a quote of the older brother. Okay. And if you understand what I'm saying, Judah is the older brother. They have never left the house, quote unquote, or had a relationship with the father, as opposed to Ephraim, who was, cut off and sent away by his own choice in one sense because of his lifestyle, but through a greater design that the father had. So every Jew, but I would put in there every Israelite, everyone who is part of all Israel, in like the role that is going to be called up yonder. If you are a true person grafted back into the tree of life, which is the tree, those souls that are grafted into this, whether righteous or wicked. Now we're going to get into the theology. Now, has two souls, okay? One soul clothes itself in the person's blood to animate the body and is the source of its egocentric drives and desires. Now, let's just stop there. This is biblical. Paul talks about it when he talks about, oh, wretched man that I am. This divided soul. We have an evil inclination. We have a bad side, so to speak, and we have a good side. We have a carnal side that wants us to serve egocentric desires, our flesh, our ego, our fallen nature. Okay, everyone has that. And the second soul of a Jew, and I said, because this is written from the point of view, they're talking about themselves and how they relate to the Father. But we know as Christians that we have been grafted back in. The second soul of a Jew is literally part of God above and is the source of the person striving to unite with God, with Elohim. Now, this is very important to understand because in the Hebrew, which is what I'm always stressing, and maybe you must go back to that, there is a certain Hebrew word for this second soul, which is called the neshama soul, which is the soul that Yah breathed into Adam, and the first soul that is in the person's blood. Remember, the life of the flesh is in the blood. This is what it's saying. Okay, what animates me. We all have this soul, which isn't bad because we have a vessel, we have a body. You got to have something animated. So that is what's going on there in the two souls. And Paul, this is complete New Testament, and we need to walk in the light, right? In the admonition and the instruction of quote unquote the light, the good side. Now, these giving you more keys on how to understand, because technically the Torah is saying to us on the deepest level, and that's why it resounds to every generation. Trust me, people, you will never wipe out no matter what you do. Look at China, look at Korea, look at Russia. These countries still have strong remnants. You will never wipe out. And it's one in the huge remnant that's waking up in America today, finally, hopefully before it's too late. Wipe out our desire to be united with God on this deep level of understanding. This is what he's calling us to. Come to me, all you who are thirsty and hungry, all those who want some spiritual depth, some food, some meat. So here goes. The body, which is again, it's a Hebrew word. It's called our nefesh soul life, okay? Our basar, the physicality of us. It is called a small city. Now, it's in the Torah. See, so a lot of times allegorically, when somebody's talking about a city and wars in this city and wars in that city, on a deeper level, it is talking about wars that go on inside of us in our psychological levels, and how our ego battles one soul, one part battles against the other. See, we need to level up, and if we are really made in the image of God, and if we really are in His image and likeness, then we need to be able to act like Him. That's the whole point of the nefesh, the higher soul. Right? He doesn't ask us to do something that we're not capable of. He breathed into us. That's what it's like. So we have that capability. That's what makes an Adamite. That makes different from all the other quote unquote species. So the body is a small city. Now, as two kings wage war over a city, each wishing to capture it and rule over it. That is to say, to govern its inhabitants according to his will, so that they obey him in all that he decrees for them. So just take this and spiritualize it. We have a war, right, in our soul, as Paul said, so that these two souls, the godly soul and what is called the animal soul. That's why sometimes in Torah readings, you'll call them, they refer to a Gentile soul as a beast soul. It's a soul that unless they are functioning on that higher soul level, they are not connecting. A person acts like a beast because they are not connected with God, united with God on this higher level neshama soul. Okay, you have to do it. This is the part of the free will deal. Okay, so that is to say, to govern it. So we're always in the state, who's going to, who are we going to obey? Oh, wretched man that I am. Who am I going to obey? So the two souls constantly are war against each other, and it's over the body and all its organs and limbs. And one of the things that in the time that deeper spirituality teaches us, according to Judaism, which is really what science is proving today. I'll tell you what, people, Freud was a deep Jewish mystical guy. He read a lot of these deeper studies, and Freud and a lot of his idea of the id, the ego, the super, it all comes from this. And he just relabeled and repackaged it and put it out there. Okay, it's nothing new under the sun. But the desire and the will of the godly soul is that it alone should rule over the person and direct him. And that is God's admonition to us. And that all his limbs should obey it and surrender themselves completely to it and become a vehicle for it and serve as a vehicle for its 10 faculties of intellect and emotion and 3 garments. Now, this is some really deeper stuff, because this is really and truly, when you understand parts, it's, remember that it says, Yeshua says, he as God, he fills all in all, every part of him. So these 10 parts of him are in everything in these 3 garments. Everything comes about by this. So it's really, what am I trying to say? It's a way to contain information. So if you were to go on in this understanding, you would learn about the 10 faculties of intellect and emotion, and about the 3 garments and how it all works and what they're saying, which completely corresponds to modern psychology. A lot of what they understand now, the neural the brain, a lot of this stuff. So, so that the entire body should be permeated with them alone, to the exclusion of any alien influence, God forbid, while the animal soul desires the very opposite. So here we have a contrast. We have the ability to kind of fight against our fallen nature and do the right thing, so to speak, which Torah is all about, the instruction on what is the right thing to do. All right. And this battle goes on. And some of us, we win some battles, you lose some battles, and there's a lot of deep stuff in this. The Gilgal of souls, the concept of how our soul is purified, is another part of a deep understanding in this that would give great enlightenment. So I do encourage people not to be afraid. I come across, the biggest thing I come across in evangelical Christianity, which is where which I feel is my mission field. I need Christians to level up. You got to get oil in your lamp. The hour is very, very late. Is to get rid of that spirit of fear. God's not giving you a spirit of fear, but a sound mind. Okay, you have the mind of Christ, which means you have this higher neshama soul level where you can figure stuff out. You can have discernment, but learn how to critically think and not to come out of fear. All right. Yah is not your enemy. It's if you call upon him, he will answer. And if you ask for bread, he will not give you a stone. So my ministry, I want to go back to this, come back to this, the elect life right here, theelectlife.org. Become a member, but there's tons of free information on here. I have a 22 free video series off of YouTube that will tell you everything you need to know on the tree of life. So I will see you hopefully in class very soon. Shalom, shalom.